Today we're going to follow up last week's episode with a part 2 on how Alex and Christian met, this time from a different perspective. Background noise, the Henson Family Podcast starts right now. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you again for listening if you're there, and if you're listening by accident, that's fine too. My name is Stephen. I'll be one of your hosts today. I am with my lovely wife, Amy Elise.
Hey.
Amy, you want to tell us who all we have with us? That makes sense?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. So, absolutely. So, welcome back, everyone. With us today, we still have our special guest, my sister, Angela Marable.
Hello.
Hi. So, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee.
Woohoo.
We're actually Franklin. And we talked earlier in an earlier episode to Alex, and this is my niece, and we got her perspective on how her and her husband got together, how they met, and all that. And over the years, I've heard many stories around the dinner table about these two, and I've loved it every time. So we wanted to hear this and get it on record. So with us today, we have a special guest, Christian. So he's with us all the way from Tennessee. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
Hey.
Good. How are you doing over there?
I'm just excited to be here.
Oh.
Man, this is an honor.
We're so glad to have you. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in, and I'm going to start asking some questions. So Christian, we're going to talk about Alex today, and tell us how you very first met her, like when you first laid eyes on her. Just start from the beginning. Yes.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Yep.
Yeah. Start from the beginning.
Yep.
Well, when I first officially met Alex, or when I knew who Alex was?
Oh, I would say when you first knew who she was.
Okay.
What did you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
a difference between the two, Christian. You're good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a difference between the two. Well, the first time I saw Alex was when I was walking to school, to Franklin High.
Oh.
I lived across the street from the high school that I went to growing up, and I would walk to school every day, or at least before I had a car. And I remember walking to school, and on the way there, we would pass this apartment complex right before we go across the street. And oftentimes, parents like Angela that didn't want to wait in the Franklin High School traffic line
Yep, that would be me.
go into this neighborhood, the neighborhood that I lived in, and drop their kids off. And so as I was walking to school, you'd see this line of cars of parents who didn't want to get into the traffic, and all the kids would jump out and they would walk across the street to school. And so the first time I saw Alex was actually then, because I often saw her older brother Morgan and her get out of the little blue van that they had and go to school, and we'd sometimes cross the street together. We never talked to each other, but that's my earliest memories of like knowing who Alex was and being
Okay.
aware
Nice.
of her.
I didn't know that. Auntie, did you know that?
Yeah.
Vaguely,
Okay.
I think.
All right.
Yeah. But it doesn't stop there. It gets so much better.
Oh, of course.
So,
Christian, that was the first time you had
Yeah.
any recollection of like laying eyes on Alex.
yeah. for sure.
Okay.
That's got to be the first time that that is Alex, and I know that's Alex Marable, right? And so the reason I knew that was Alex Marable was because I played football at Franklin High my freshman year. I was
Okay.
not good at football, but I was on the football team.
Okay.
And one of the players who also was not good at football, Caleb.
I heard
Lovely
that.
honesty.
I was friends with, and Caleb, I'm like blanking on his last name. Angela, what's his last name?
Yeah,
We don't have
can't
to
remember.
do last names.
Yeah, you do. No,
Yeah.
Angela knows.
I don't remember. I mean, oof.
Yeah, I'm blanking too. Anyway, Caleb, what's his face? uh, he he played backup quarterback, and he was a friend of mine. And at the time, he was dating Alex. I don't know if that's like the right term for it, but they were definitely like hanging out in some capacity.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were
And
pretty close friends, maybe
yeah,
hanging out. That's about it.
yeah, that's about it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it wasn't. I know it wasn't like intense in any way. I mean, we were
Right.
14 years old, so it wasn't. There wasn't much happening. We didn't have cars or anything. So, but they were definitely hanging out. And I remember Caleb liked this other girl named Kinsey, and we would talk about this, and we would talk about how he's like, hey, I like Kinsey, but my mom like really wants me to date this other girl, Alex, because she thinks that she's a lot better for me. And there's like this whole drama centered around him, Alex, and Kinsey, and like there's just this back and forth, and that's like earliest memories of Alex.
Okay.
And I remember standing in like the general Franklin High, like narthex area, like the place where people group together, and thinking, uh, while Caleb was telling me this story about how, oh my gosh, I'm like caught between these in this love triangle between these two girls, and I actually want to date Kinsey. I remember thinking to myself, well, I would love to date Alex. I would absolutely take her off your hands, bud. And that's the first time that I like knew who Alex was, and was
Mm.
aware of her. And I never talked to her. I just thought she was pretty, to be honest. That
Mm.
was about
Okay.
it.
Mm.
Yeah. She is. She's very
She
pretty.
is. Yeah, she continues.
Okay,
She
so
continues to be.
okay, so now you're gonna go after her. Um, Tell me what
Well,
happens
no,
next,
yeah,
right?
it's much later. Yeah, so that was when
So y'all
I
were
was a
14,
freshman.
right?
Yeah,
So
I was 14. She's a grade above me, so she was 15. So
okay.
it wasn't until years later. So 2 years later, I got a summer job, my first job, because I got a car and I needed to pay for gas and insurance. And being 16 years old and having a Jeep, the insurance was super expensive.
Yep,
And so
crazy.
I needed to get a job. And luckily, Culver's was hiring. They just opened up I don't know if everybody's had the Culver's fast food chain, but they were opening up the first one in like Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
of course. The
Love
best
Culver's.
butter burger in town.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right? Yep.
yeah, double butter burger with cheese.
Mm-hmm. Butter burger. You can't
Yeah,
see that
it's good for you.
5 times twice. Yeah.
So I applied, got the job there, and after getting the job there and working there throughout the summer, um, I took a little bit of a break and went to Nicaragua and was there for a week. It was a really great trip, awesome, kind of like a big moment in my like younger years that later went back 5 other times to Nicaragua. But the reason that's important is because when I got back from Nicaragua in like I want to say August, it's like right after school started up again. Um, Alex and I got put on the same drive-through shift. So I
Okay.
hadn't really worked with Alex the whole time because she worked the mornings and I worked the nights. And so we hadn't talked to each other all summer or anything like that. I knew she worked there. I remember, oh, that's Alex. That's the girl that Caleb was, halfway love triangle dating or whatever. And I thought was cute and I had never talked to before. Um, but we got put on the same drive-through shift. And we got to talking about Nicaragua because she had actually gone there that summer as well, just with like a different church. And
Okay.
so that was like the first moments of like the hitting it off and the conversation starting. And by the end of that drive-through shift, I asked her for a number. I was pretty forward about it, to be honest.
Were
I
you
was, I
nervous
was
to do that?
yeah, I was pretty nervous about everything back then, if I'm being honest. But I'm a very like it depends on the environment that I'm in. So at Culver's, right? Like my thing was drive through. It's like where I lived, and it was the thing that I was good at. And one of the things that I would do is I would pretend to be Jim Carrey from Ace Ventura, like to the customer that were driving through the drive through.
Really?
And
So what
yeah.
would you say? Give us a sample of of a Jim Carrey that you would say when somebody come through the drive-through?
Yeah, no, specifically Ace Ventura, right? So I wasn't pulling any Bruce Almighty or The Mask or anything like that. I was just specifically focused on that. But no, I would just, as someone would roll through, I'd be like, "Alrighty then, your total is 325 at the window. We'll see you there." Like that kind of thing. And I was just an idiot.
That's
It's
awesome.
just, I just
So you
was,
you didn't tell anybody to put some stank on it?
yeah, no. Oh yeah, I could have. Bumblebee tuna? Bumblebee
Would you
tuna.
like some stank on it?
That's right. No stank. I didn't want to get fired. I just wanted to make
Yeah,
people
not at a
laugh.
food restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I like to think that that me um, that me doing that Jim Carrey voice was actually the thing that allowed me to get Alex's number. Like I made her laugh a little bit, and so she actually said okay instead of
She
get
gave
away
you
from
her
me.
number?
She did, yeah. So I asked her for a number at the end of the shift, and she gave it to me. I could tell she was hesitant though. Like, I could definitely tell that she was like, "Okay, sure," because she had some other boys that liked her that were at Culver's too, and so I was just like, I'm positive that there were two other guys that liked her, and that I was third in line of those guys.
It,
So
it was Jim Carrey, right?
yeah, that's
Awesome.
right.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you've got her number. So
hmm
tell us about what happens next with you guys. Do y'all start dating? Like, how long does it take before you get to go on a date with her?
Oh yeah. Oh, for my memory, a while, like a few months.
Okay.
I got her number. We start talking on the phone. Just texting back and forth, talking. We do a couple like group hangs where like our friends are getting together, after work, something like that. Just on and off. There's one particular time where we went to the movies, went to go see Skyfall, the new James Bond movie. Not new anymore,
Okay.
but new
Yeah.
new in 2012. And we went after work, and we went with my friend Corey, and then Alex and Morgan. Morgan, her older brother Morgan,
Okay.
and Morgan knew everyone knew I liked Alex, and Alex did
Okay.
not like me back. And Morgan made it clear that he was not going to allow me to sit by Alex. That was like the move.
Well,
And so,
like he
go
said
ahead.
something to you? Like how?
Well, no, he didn't say anything, but I could feel it, I could sense it, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm going to. So like, good luck. So like I'm gonna make it happen. And so they go in and sit down in the theater seats, and she sits. If we can imagine like a line, like Alex is starting the line, then it's Morgan, then it's me, then it's Corey. And
Mm.
so Alex sits down, then Morgan sits next to her, like to the end of the seats that we have, and then I just walk around Morgan, and then I go and I sit on the other side by Alex, and I could see the devastation in Morgan's face when he's like, "Well, that plan didn't work."
There's a big psychological game going
Yeah,
on here at the
There
movies.
is.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I've ever talked to Morgan about that, but I would love to. We should get him on the pod and hash that out.
I
Yeah.
wasn't there at the moment, but it definitely sounds like you dominated, Christian.
It
You
sounds like
know?
I dominated. I mean,
You
yeah, that
dominated.
scenario.
You,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm projecting myself as this confident person in this situation, but
Oh, yeah?
I promise you that is not the case.
Were you a little weak in the knees?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So,
For
so,
sure.
and that's not even an official date, right? So, I mean, and you were still
No,
kind of
it's
nervous.
not. Oh yeah, I'm super nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never really really dated a girl, and I mean I've had girlfriends and stuff like that, but nothing like actually, right? And so in that this Skyfall movie is an important text. I don't know if Alex talked about it, but it rolls back. So while we're watching the Skyfall movie, I'm not paying attention at all. Like at all in the
You mean
movie.
to the
All
movie
I
or
am
to
thinking about
Alex?
is I'm paying attention to Alex. I am
He probably
trying to
doesn't know what the
figure out.
movie's about.
I know. What are we
No,
seeing now? Is this a
I,
James
I
Bond
don't
movie?
know.
I don't know.
yeah. I am trying to figure out, does she like me? Right? Like I got to know. And so my plan, this legitimately was my plan,
Oh,
was
Oh,
to
he's
good.
being
Tell us.
strategic.
was to push my knee into her knee throughout the movie,
Okay.
and to see if when I took it away, if she would follow back. This was
Wait,
like my.
That
It
is
This
does
was
one I've never heard of.
does that mean something?
exactly
The
yeah.
knee?
No, well, no. I just like. Well, I was
What's the knee
like, okay,
thing? It
if
means
I like
something.
snuggle into her, and then if I pull away, does she like want to reciprocate in any sort of way? Because like we had been talking a lot on the phone, and like we'd been hanging out a bunch. I really liked her, and this is like the best idea I could come up with. Like instead of just talking to her, and asking her, I was like,
Right.
oh, I know what I'll do.
Oh.
I will in the movie, I will push my knee into her knee, and I will see if she follows back. And if she does, it means she likes me. I'm
Oh
so
God.
smart.
That
Oh,
the
wow.
knee thing, if it works, that definitely means she's falling
And
for
Well,
and
you.
Christian,
well,
did
guys, it
she know
worked because
this?
she followed back. So I knew.
Oh.
She
So
did
I knew.
fall
Does
back. Oh,
she
the
know
knee thing
this?
worked.
Yeah,
Does
yeah,
she
Wow.
does
it
she
did.
know about this? Like, is
She
she
doesn't know about
aware?
it. I mean, it's something that we've talked about
Okay.
since then. But I mean, during the movie, no, I was a crazy person. What are you
That
talking
is
about?
so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, so we have the knee thing that happened.
Knee thing
Okay,
was
so that
successful.
was a positive signal, right?
Yeah.
Positive
Hey,
signal.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
Soon
going.
after that. Yeah. Soon after that, I'm trying to place the order of events after this. Yeah. Soon after that, I think that's when I asked her to like start hanging out one on one. So I think the
Okay.
next thing that I was trying to do was say like, hey, can I come pick you up and we can hang out? And she was pretty hesitant about that. Again, I'm third in line to these other guys that are at Culver's.
So
Um,
so at this point, do you see her as, okay, I really like this girl. I'm gonna go all out for her. Like, did you see her as, wow, she could be the one?
yeah, but that's just because I'm a freak. I like that's because I was a like I just watched too many movies when I was a kid, and I really wanted that like high school sweetheart,
Okay. Yeah.
infatuation thing.
That
Like
puppy
that was
love
head over
and
heels. Like
yeah.
that was me. And
Okay.
so I'm sure like I don't know what y'all's conversation was earlier, but I do some pretty um I do some pretty big romantic gestures later on that are just silly, to be quite honest. They're just silly.
Okay.
But yeah, so no. I think after this, I call her and I'm like, hey, can I come pick you up and we can go hang out? And she's like, no, we can't. But I do have time. I don't have a ride to work, so you could drive me to work and we can hang out, and you can just come pick
Okay.
me up a little bit early. And I was
Okay.
like, I'll take it. Like I'll take it. That sounds great. And so I think picking her up and taking her to Sweet CC's was the first time we like had a date.
Okay. Maybe that was a little bit of a that I guess she was very guarded.
Yeah.
Kind of kept you motivated.
Yeah, for
Maybe.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, she definitely wasn't um giving me a lot to work with by that point. That's when I met Angela, on the front yard when I came and picked her up to take her
Mhm.
to Sweet CC's, and I met
Mhm.
Granny too,
Mhm.
out in the front yard, and I picked her up in my Jeep and proceeded to run every red light in Franklin
So
for the
this was the
next
first date, right? That you're
45
talking
minutes.
about, right? This is the
This
first
is the
date?
what?
Is this the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
date you're talking about right now?
Yes, yeah. This is the
Okay.
first time we hung out.
Hey, Christian, I've always want to ask you, why did you run those stop lights and stop signs and like what was going through your head?
I mean, I was just super nervous. I mean, I was like, I had a girl that was really pretty that I liked in my car. And I
In your
just
car. Mm.
in my car, and I didn't know what to do
Ugh.
with myself. And so I knew that we both liked Maroon 5,
Ah,
specifically songs about Jane. And I said, like, do you just want to ride around and listen to this album and sing these songs? Because I didn't know how to even talk to her. I was just like, I'm just
Okay,
gonna
so
I
you had a
was
hard
gonna,
time talking too.
oh yeah, for sure. Like again,
saying for
guys, like I'm
sure.
projecting
Oh.
myself as a confident person, but I just was not at all.
And there was no way your knee was going to reach over there this time. It was too
No,
far
no,
away.
yeah, too far away, too far away. I would, and I couldn't actually just ask her like we talked about her. Right, I had to like, come up with other ways to avoid conversation. So I, I just played songs about Jane, and we sang songs, and yeah, I just ran every red light, and I remember her freaking out. To be honest, like I was speeding, just blowing them,
Mm-hmm.
and I did get her there safe though. So you know what? I did my job.
There we go.
Okay, so moving along here, when did you find out that she was returning feelings back to you? Like at this point, right? It's pretty much you. You're pursuing. When was it
Yeah,
clear that wow, she
yeah.
likes me too?
Not until I asked her out officially. So that date, that first date, I wasn't like, hey, will you go on a date with me? It
Okay.
was like, hey, let's hang out. I'll come pick you up. Um, but after about like I kept doing that. Like we had fun. Like even though I almost killed her, we had fun, and that was the good part. And so she was willing to have me do that again. And so like I would pick her up usually at night after work after she got off, and I would take her back to her house. Because she didn't have a car. They shared
Mm-hmm.
that van, and so we just kept doing that, and it started to become easier to talk to her, right? Like I was able to just like have conversations and not be as nervous about it. But I didn't know, I did not know if she liked me when I was officially like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna ask her to like start dating. I'm gonna ask her to start dating and try to like move this along in this way. And this was like, probably 2 months after we'd been like hanging out like that. It was November at that point. And so, yeah, I picked her up from Sweet Cece's one night, or I was going to pick her up from Sweet Cece's one night. And I had this plan formulated in my head that I'm going to pick her up. I'm going to get her in my car. I'm going to drive to Fieldstone Farms where her house is. We're going to park in front. I'm going to look at her and I'm going to say, Alex, will you be my girlfriend? I like had this whole thing planned in my head. Like we hadn't really been dating or said I like you to each other or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
was just gonna go straight for the girlfriend thing. Like that was
Yeah.
that was the plan. Um, and I picked her up and we got to her house. And when I got there, I knew that wasn't the I just knew that wasn't the right thing to say for some reason. That it wasn't. I shouldn't say, hey, will you be my girlfriend? And I had practiced that literally 100 times earlier that afternoon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't say that. What I said was, hey, Alex, I want you to know that I really like you more than a friend. And I would like to start going on dates to get to know you better in that way. Do you want to do that? And she said, yes, I would like to do that. But,
Woo.
but she knew that I was going to do this night. Like she could sense it coming. Like I think I was
Mm.
probably drenched in sweat when I picked her up. Like I, you know, was running red lights again. Whatever it is, like that I do when I get nervous. Throwing up outside the window, whatever.
Oh,
Like I have no
Christian.
idea. And and she had planned to say no. Like she had planned to tell me, no, I don't want to be your girlfriend. Like she was like, if he asked me to be my girlfriend, I'm going to tell him no. And I didn't. And I think about that a lot because
Mm.
if I had done that, like who would have known? Like, and she said no. Who knows what would have happened?
Right.
And
Yeah.
now we're married and we've got 3 kids, and like just like that little thing. I think about those things all the time. That if I didn't phrase it in a specific way, I wonder if it would have been
Mm.
too much, and we don't keep talking or whatever happens. And but I didn't. I said, hey, I really like you. I don't know if you like me, but I would like to take you out on dates and get to know you like that. And she said yes.
Oh.
It's that this is this isn't going to make sense, but the Indiana Jones movie, that third one where they said you chose
Yeah,
at the end.
you chose wisely. Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly
yeah.
what I'm thinking of
No,
right now.
Amy, that makes 100% sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Okay, so so at this point, when do you start, holding hands? Is there a first kiss? So tell us how things move along for you guys.
Yeah. pretty fast after that because
Hmm.
like as far as like she said that she didn't want to be, yeah, we're not gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm not ready for that yet. I would say after I asked her if she wanted to start going on dates, we were immediately dating. Like that's what it felt like. It's like,
Okay.
okay, we are together now. And so Alex is, um, I mean, you guys know Alex, and listeners that don't, my wife was very nervous too, like about the dating thing, and she didn't want to hold hands like initially. Like I remember after a week of us um, dating, or going out a lot more, that I like reached to hold her hand, and we like held her hands for like 2 minutes, and then she like took her hand off. I was like, okay, that was good, thank you, like thanks for that. Like that's a little too much now. I don't want to keep doing that. Like that was we got to take this
That's
really
my
slow. And I
girl.
was like, all
Yeah.
right,
What can I
no, cool,
say?
like
Mm.
cool, yeah. It's like, cool, okay. We get 2 minutes of hand
You had
holding
a
a week,
moment
and
though.
yeah, yeah, we did. We did have a moment. It was a lot of long hugs, let's say. Like that was our that was the physical stuff for a long time. It was just like, let's just hug each other for a while. But I say a
Mm.
long time. I mean, when you're in high school, a week is a long time, but
Mm.
really, I mean, we had our first kiss, I think, 3 months after we had been dating.
Okay. And when was it that you think well, you loved her? Like when do you know, wow, she loves me, I love her. When did it get to that?
Um, when I felt that I loved her, when I told her I loved her, and then like when I like actually loved her, I think are like all three different times. Um,
Okay.
there like there are different like it's I'm not trying to get too deep on the pod. That's all
Yeah.
I'm trying, but like I'm trying to like answer the question as best I can. And um there's like a high school infatuation, like love that you feel.
Mhm.
I felt that for Alex like really, really quickly.
Okay.
Um,
That makes
like
sense.
there was this moment whenever she had this horse named Wolfie that she loved with all her heart, and she took me out to go see him one night, and it was like snow, rain, sleeting, and she had to put a blanket on him, and we got out there, and this is like 2 months after. Like I don't even think we had our first kiss yet. And no, we hadn't had our first kiss yet. And she was like throwing the blanket on Wolfie. Um, and we were out in the snow. And I just remember thinking, like, yeah, I love this girl. Like, I really love this girl.
Mhm. Oh.
Um, and that's the first time I thought that um, in that way. I think that's what you're asking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. What about it? What about when she, I guess, acknowledged back to you? That when did that happen? That she loved you too?
Well, I had this whole stupid rule. Again, I was a
Oh.
dumb high schooler that I wanted to only tell one girl that I loved her. Like that was like
Okay.
I
I
have
get
all these
that.
dumb rules that I like I watched way too many movies, and I built up these things in my head that I was like, I'm gonna be a movie character and my life is gonna be this way. And so we had these conversations of like I don't want to say I love you to you. Like so we both were like, no, I love yous. It's not a part of it. I want to wait until in my mind when I was going to tell the girl that I loved her. In this case, it was Alex, but like the girl one day that I loved her was going to be when I proposed. Like that's like the grand romantic gesture that I wanted, and um, that became like a hard thing because we clearly loved each other, and it had been this is like years later, like
Oh. Okay.
this is like
Wow.
2.5 years probably, maybe 1.5, 2 years into dating, something like that. Um, where we would use the words "I like you very much" or like "I more than like you" or like stuff like that. That was just so ridiculous
That was
like
code
when you're like,
for I love
yeah,
you,
it's code for I
but you
love.
didn't
We're
want to
saying I
say
love
it.
you,
Yeah.
and we're just
Yeah.
like, oh, but I didn't say it, so it doesn't count. Like that's how that's how we would communicate. Anyway, so when this is jumping further than like what your question was asking, because you're like first kiss and all that stuff. I can go ahead and answer this if you want me to. But one day, Alex was over at my house. I guess it was like towards the end of my senior year, or it was like maybe right after I graduated. Um, and she was upset by this like I more than like you thing, because she's like, I know
Mm.
how I feel about you, and it's
Okay.
like weird that you're not telling me. It's like, this is a dumb rule. You're dumb. Like, and I was like, yeah, no, I know, but like, come on, like,
Come on,
let's
but it's
win
my
this thing.
rule.
I've had a plan. This is my plan. Don't ruin it. Like, and,
It's got to go by the
and
plan.
I
Yeah.
remember her like crying and driving off from my house, and me like feeling really like complicated in my head and in my heart. Like, I just decided, I was like, this is dumb. Like, I love her. I need to go tell her that. And I saw her turn the corner, and I just started running. I could have definitely just gone inside and gotten the key to my car and followed her home, but I didn't. I said, I'm just gonna run after her car. Um,
That's
because
much more
that was the
romantic,
big, yeah, it's much
Christian.
more romantic. Yeah,
Well,
It
like
you
is.
well,
if I'm gonna
Christian,
have
you
to
got your
give up
movie
the I
moment.
love you,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, you
If I'm
got
gonna
your
have to
movie moment.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
if I'm gonna have to give up the I love you at the proposal, then I'm getting my movie moment now, right? That I'm gonna get this
Right,
moment
you
that I'm
got it.
running through the neighborhood, and that's what happened. I mean, guys, that I think that is the fastest I've run in my entire life, because she was going quick. I was like, oh, I'm kind of in for it. I thought I was
You're
gonna
like,
catch
I've
her
got to
around
get
the
this
first
girl.
corner, and I did
I
not.
can't
And
let
so
her
I ran like
go.
a mile. I ran like a mile to finally get to her car, and she finally rounded that corner. Funny enough, I'm actually like just now thinking about this. I think I said I love you to her where I first saw her. That's so funny. But like that spot, Angela, where you would drop her off, that's
Yes.
where I caught her car,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
that's where I told her I loved her. And I
Mm,
just thought I just
okay.
made that connection too, as we're talking about the story. But um,
That's a
yeah,
great
that was the first time I said
story.
that, and she said it to me, and we kissed, and you know, now we're
Oh,
Mhm.
talking about
man.
Rona.
Was there
So,
any music playing in the background when this happened?
no, that's later.
Because
That's
Oh,
that's later. That
we need some orchestra playing for that
that
moment.
that happens. It's just
That
not
is
yet.
that's amazing. Oh, that's a great story. Okay, so we've got that out of the way, right? The I love you. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So tell us about let's just jump to engagement. How'd that happen?
Yeah. So I was 19, and she was 20.
Okay.
We were both living in Franklin. She lived in an apartment that was really close to mine. Um, that is all very close to where we grew up. So it was like, I moved a street behind my house, and that's where I lived. And then Alex moved a street over from me. Um, and we were all just in this group of friends that would hang out all the time. And in the season of her life, I was working at a church, and she was working in I think she was working in Nashville still, like in downtown Nashville, at that point. And I remember my mom asking me like, when you guys getting engaged? And I was like, man, I don't know. And I'm ready. Like, I know that I love her. I know I'm gonna marry her. Um, it's like a foregone conclusion. And so I need to figure that out. And I uh, thought about it, prayed about it, and I asked Angela to go to lunch with me, and we went to this little Mexican
Mm-hmm.
restaurant,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and um, and just talked to her and asked her if it was okay,
Mm-hmm.
and she confirmed that it was, and that there wouldn't be a better son-in-law to ever walk the earth, that uh, that would. No, that was not what happened. But she did say that it was okay. She did say that was fine,
Okay.
and uh, I remember that. I remember that
Okay.
well. Angela, what do you remember from that? I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just like telling this whole story, but
No, that's all.
you were
I
there.
was going to ask Angela. So tell us your thoughts on this.
Oh, I was impressed that he asked. And
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
we met there and had a quick bite to eat, and I think he was nervous. I felt a little nervous, but I also felt like I had one up on him.
Did
You
you
know what I
know it was
mean?
coming? Like, did you sense
A little bit,
he's
sure.
yeah.
I was like, he's asking me,
Mm, yeah.
what is his ulterior motive here? No, we had a great conversation.
We did. We had a really good conversation, and I remember us both crying and being excited by
Yep,
it
we
and
were
feeling like it
excited.
was the right time.
Yep, it's
Okay.
true.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Angela, when did you have a sense from Alex that, wow, she is falling for this guy? I think he's the one.
Mm,
When did you sense that from her?
I definitely sensed it before she said anything, or Christian came to me.
Okay.
Um, I just knew. So she was just acting too comfortable. Like she could be herself. She could laugh and sing and cry and do all those things. She could uh, she seemed very happy. She didn't come to me with like woes or this or that or sadness or cry. She was just, I could tell my daughter was happy. And
Hmm.
I just knew it. Yeah.
Okay. And let's go ahead and move on to, so you obviously gave your blessing,
Blessing.
right, to get
Mhm.
married. And
Yeah. Do you want me to tell
then
you the engagement story?
I would love,
I didn't know if that's what.
I would love to hear that. Yes.
Okay, great. Um, this is another spectacular. Uh, I'm gonna make it beautiful. It's gonna be perfect, and it just gets gets absolutely wrecked in my face. Um,
He's trying
I
for
had
another
this
movie
idea.
moment, Amy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I had
is.
this
Oh.
idea to surprise her, obviously, with the engagement, because I genuinely think she had no idea it was coming anytime soon, because it felt like I decided quickly, like we were just dating, and then like, yeah, I'm gonna ask her to marry me, and then like a month later I did it. Like that's what it felt like. Um, so there was no like conversations we had leading up to it, like, all right, well, like maybe this year we get engaged or anything, like it just kind of happened. Um, and so there was this farm that our friend Bella lived at when we first, like, Alex and I had been dating a year, and we started doing
Hmm.
this like college small group thing together, and that's where we met Bella.
Okay.
Bella's like one of my best friends still to this day, and she lived on this property, but she didn't live there anymore. And so I had to, sorry, backing up a little bit. She lived on this property, but she didn't live there anymore. And it had like this really big field and like a creek in the back. And I remember one day when when we were like a year, 2 years younger, we'd go and like sit back and hang out in that creek. And I thought it'd be really cool if I could put like floating candles in that creek and like hang up some like paper lanterns and stuff like that, and do it in the creek, because it was like shallow enough to where I could like kneel down and she could walk there and we wouldn't get like soaking wet or anything like that. It was probably just like 2-3 inches deep.
Okay.
Um,
Very nice.
and so I was like, oh, that's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that happen. And um, Bella didn't live there anymore, so I'd like call the new homeowner and like be like, hey, can I like ask my girlfriend to marry me in your backyard? And they said, yeah, sure, that's great. And so I did that. I ended up buying Alex tickets to this music festival that was in Franklin, so that she was like unaware of something for the whole day. And I was going to have Bella um, drive her out and blindfold her and drop her off over by the creek. And then she would undo the blindfold and walk down into the creek and be blown away with the beauty that I have
Mm,
created for her
mm,
and
mm.
ask her to marry me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, not a well thought through plan, because the day of, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get there and I'm going to just like put the candles down and put the paper lanterns up and like do the whole thing. It's gonna be easy. And I realize that this is kind of steep to get down here. This is not what I remember. This is a hill that is only mud is what it is. And so I brought a shovel out. I went to go get a
Oh
shovel. I got
no.
someone, and I like carved like stairs into the mud, like that she could walk
Oh,
down,
Christian.
so that she could get into the water without face planting. because that wouldn't be cool, right? Like
No,
that wouldn't
no,
be
probably
romantic.
not. Probably not.
And so I carve out these stairs, and I put all the floating candles in, and I hang up the paper lanterns, and it looks exactly like I wanted it to. It's beautiful. And I leave the place, and I go back to my house. This is probably like 4 or 5 hours before it happens, because I want to go watch Tennessee football is playing Florida that day. And Tennessee has not beaten Florida in 10 years to this point. We've got a really good football team, and I'm really excited because this is the year, like I tell myself every year. Um, and I'm watching with my friends, and Alex is at the music festival, and I'm waiting
Mm-hmm.
for the moment to leave. Um, and as I'm sitting there watching the game, man, it's getting really cloudy outside. I check the
Oh, oh
weather,
no.
and it's
No, no, no.
like a thunderstorm is approaching, and it absolutely monsoons. Like it is pouring rain, and I jump in the car, and this is the fourth quarter of a Tennessee football game, and Tennessee is up, and I left the game. Just to be clear, this is
Oh,
this is a this is a big deal. This
yeah,
is
and just let me throw in here to those who are listening. This guy is the biggest Tennessee Volunteer fan ever.
He bleeds orange.
That's right.
Mm.
So when he says
yeah.
he missed the last part of a game, that is a big deal.
Yeah, I missed the fourth quarter, and we beat Florida in a decade. I mean, man, I love this girl. I really do. And so I get in the car, and I'm driving down. I'm like, man, if it rains, I think all this stuff is just gonna get ruined. And so I get there, and it's just, yeah, it's monsooning. It's just an absolute torrential downpour,
Monsooning.
and uh, and Alex is on her way now to the like spot. Like Bella's like, I'm in the car driving, and I'm like, please don't. Like, you gotta
This
put
is
stuff in the car.
this is the movie moment, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's right. So I now have to come up with okay, I gotta go get all those candles. I gotta go get all those lanterns because it's raining. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do because like I'm not gonna be able to do what I think I'm gonna do. And I jump out in my nice clothes that I've got on and just get soaked. And I run over to the creek, and you know what? Everything is gone. Just washed away, absolutely obliterated. The stairs that I've made have turned into the most dangerous mudslide that's ever been created.
he's just
I'm
gone.
falling down in the mud trying to find all this stuff, and I'm just like, I take my shirt off. I'm like a wild animal out there, like trying to figure this out because she's like 10 minutes away. And I get back up from the creek bed and put my shirt back on, and I'm like, it just stops raining. It just stops raining, which thank God, like that's amazing. But if I would have just waited a few more minutes, I could have not been soaked. So it stops raining, and I got to figure out what to do now. And so I have these paper lanterns, these extra paper lanterns in my car with a lighter, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do like a circle on the ground on this in this field. I'm just gonna like put these paper lanterns in a circle and light them, and make a little pathway out of them. And when she gets here, I'll take her blindfold off, and we'll be in the field, and it'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's not what I wanted, but it's like literally the only thing I can do because she's like pulling up. And so she pulls up, and Bella gets her out of the car, and she tells her to count down from like 50, which was like insane. She's just like counting. I was just like standing there, like, why did you pick such a high number? And she gets down to finally like 10, 9, and then I like start counting with her, and I take her blindfold off, and I like walk her to the little semicircle that I've made of paper lanterns, and then I have this like letter that I wrote, and I read her, and I ask her if she'll marry me, and she says
And
yes.
woo!
And yeah, she says yes. Yeah,
Hey.
that's right. She says
Nice.
and then we're crying, we hug, and we kiss, and we stand up, and then she goes, "Where are we?" I'm like,
Didn't even
yeah,
know where we
this
were.
is that field like from a few years ago that was apparently like in my mind a really important place, but you don't even know where we are. And I had this whole thing planned over here, but that's gone now. Oh,
It
and
was
Tennessee
washed
lost.
away.
It was washed away, and then Tennessee lost on a field goal in the fourth quarter. So that was the other piece of it too. Um, and that was how I asked her to marry me.
That is so awesome. I love that. And actually, I've heard that story before. I just love hearing it again.
I think you
Mhm.
guys have heard all these stories before. I don't-
Yes. Well, this is why we're doing this. Is because I
Yeah.
love these stories so much.
Now all 5 of our listeners are going to know this story.
Okay, so we're kind of running out of time, but I want to
Oh, okay,
know.
okay.
I want to know what is different about Alex.
Do you mean than the other girls or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
different in general?
yeah. I guess different than other girls. Like you fell head over heels for her. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, what's different?
Other than her saying yes to me.
Yeah.
um.
I guess that would make her different.
Yeah, that would
Mm,
make a difference.
mm,
I just knew. Obviously, like I think she's beautiful, and I enjoy being around her. We have a blast together. All the things that I think you need in a successful relationship or marriage. I knew from like even when I was in high school and when I started liking her, Alex is gonna be a really good wife, and she's really gonna be able to put aside her things and like love me well, and she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a really good partner. And I knew she was gonna be a really good mom too. And as weird as it sounds, that was important to me, even in high school, even when I was like in college age. And I knew that she was gonna be really good at those things, and she is.
She
She
is.
she's an amazing wife. She's an amazing mother, and she's full of so much joy. And I think you guys know that. I think everybody that's around her knows that. Whenever she was interviewing for her job at Christ Community, when after I was done working there, she started working there like a month after me, and for some reason I was like in an interview with her with Charles, uh, our boss,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked like, "What's gonna make Alex different?" Like a similar question, like
Mm-hmm.
but not in love sense and like just like the person sense. And I told him, I was like, your office is just going to be a different place because Alex is here. And she's
Yeah,
going to make
that's right.
everybody, she's going to connect everybody. And people who are not supposed to be friends with each other will become friends with each other because Alex is here. And I still think that about her. I think it's her best quality. I think that she has a unique ability to make people feel very seen and loved and feel
Yeah.
like the most important person in the room.
mm.
Um, and she did that. She's done that everywhere she goes.
Well, I guess our listeners know pretty much how this ends, right? 3 beautiful kids,
Mhm.
and they just have a wonderful marriage. And anyway, well, Christian, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And
Thank you.
yeah, Angela, thanks for joining us all the way
Sure.
from Tennessee. And anyway, Christian, thank you so much.
Yeah, I love you guys. Glad y'all are
Yeah,
doing this,
yeah,
and
we
glad
love you too.
I could be a guest.
That's going to do it for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed the love stories of Christian and Alex. Emmy, I think we could see ourselves doing more of these How We Met episodes in the future.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next week.